Right, time is kind of pressing on. I don't think anybody else would like to ask a final question or make a point. Chat behind the camera.
I'd quite like to ask, given there's a lot of agency folk here, one of the things I'm always curious about is you see a lot of pitching. Are there any constant mistakes that agencies make? Is there anything you wish they wouldn't constantly do that you don't get to tell them? How can you help them?
Just about 9 o'clock. So.
But how can you help them prevent making these mistakes in future? What advice would you give?
I'll happily kick that one off.
I just thought it was a good example.
Sort of reiterating a point that I've made several times during the evening, it really is about understanding the brief, and if it's felt that the client hasn't put the brief over, then it's essential to clarify that before, because we're more than capable of missing the mark when it comes to delivering what our requirements are. But I think clarifying the requirements is absolutely essential, so that when you get to a pitch, if it is a formal pitch that is being undertaken, you know that everybody in the room understands the brief. It's that simple.
Are you ready yet, Gary?
I've got an example, and to be honest, it reiterates Paul's point. We had a brief for something fairly recently. It was around charitable stuff, and we'd recently rebranded the hospital, and it was all about delivering the best in care. We gave them the whole brand brief, which was around kind of an analogy, if you like, the Jaguar. So it's very much top end, cutting edge, etc., etc. We've got a new hospital, which some of you may have seen, etc., etc. And it was around doing, because we had nobody, we've got a £15 million charity. It was about no one doing any kind of comms or marketing for that organisation. And we had some agencies in, and one of the agencies came in, and their whole analogy and their whole campaign was around £1, so around the Poundland kind of analogy. Now, my view on that was they had completely and utterly, we had been very upfront about where we felt our brand sat. We had given them the creative, we'd given them all of the rationale of how it had been developed, and they couldn't understand why we felt that it had completely and utterly, and they presented it as if it was the and you've only got to look at resource versus gain, to get 1 million people to donate £1 versus, but it just does not fit with your brand. So I think you really have to understand, and that doesn't take much, because it's just a little bit about getting to know some people and what they stand for, and funny enough, it doesn't get business.
I think for us, and we don't do many pitches. Again, I guess the times when we do competitions and pitches is more selecting architects, I guess, and design, when actually that is someone wants to see on the prominent side some element of choice, rather than you just picking an architect that's going to produce something that's going to last hopefully 50 to 100 years. But I think the mistake that you do see is organisations trying to get the best person and presenting to make the pitch rather than the big book and to do the work, when actually for us it's all about the people who you're going to be working with. And even in the case of something like these creatives, designing a building, you've got to spend 2 or 3 years of your life working with these guys. And you do see people coming in and, right, you're good at presenting, you can go and do that. And the worst mistake of all is when organisations employ business development individuals, because you can see straight through it in an instant, because they don't understand actually the business they're actually representing, and it lasts a microsecond once you get to questions, because you're all sitting there thinking.
And they all drive Audis as well. So.
Yeah. they're far too slick. They're great at presenting, but under scrutiny and asking a question, it just collapses. So I mean, for Christ's sake, do it yourself for a start. I think is the one goal. And be honest and show a bit of integrity, and don't be frightened to actually give an answer that you you actually believe it, but might not be the right answer. Try not to get completely into someone's head, just say what you think. Because I'd actually rather pick somebody who stands up for what they want to believe in than actually somebody who's trying to tell you what you want to hear.